attempted to stop the suspect, he ran away from them into a nearby residential yard. The officers separated in an attempt to contain the suspect. The first officer remained on Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, while the second officer went through a residential complex to the west. Moments later, the first officer observed the suspect running northbound on Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. The officer chased the suspect north on Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue and then east on Reyes Street. While on Reyes Street,
Stop! Get on the ground! Hey, stop, I'm gonna tase you. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Hey, stop! Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the fucking ground. Get on the ground. Fuck you! Fuck what you doing? Hey, put your hands out! Put your hands out! Unit David Edward 12. Put your hands out! Put your hands out!
And you?
Zebra 4. I'm on 20th East MLK 998. Hey, get on the ground!
Hey, motherfucker! Ah, bitch!
4 Zebra 4. 998. I'm in front of 1022 East 20th. Put your hands out, man! 1022 East 20th Street. Put your hands out! Put your hands out! Put your hands out! 4 Zebra 4, we are facing eastbound. Have fire stage, the suspect's not in custody yet. Put your hands out!
Where you at? Unit 4 Zebra 4. My partner just went after somebody, shots fired. Send me units code 3. Unit 4 Zebra 4.
Put your hands out! Unit David Edward 12. Put your hands out! Put your hands out!
And you?
Zebra 4. I'm on 20th East MLK 998. Hey, get on the ground!
Hey, motherfucker! Ah, bitch!
4 Zebra 4, 998. I'm in front of 1022 East 20th. Put your hands out, man.
Suspect abruptly turned toward the officer and began to approach him. The officer observed what he believed was a weapon in the suspect's right hand. The suspect reached down to the ground and picked up an object, which was later determined to be a firearm. He then continued to run east on Reyes Street and failed to follow the officer's repeated commands to stop. To de-escalate the situation, the officer used his taser to stop the suspect. The taser was ineffective and the suspect continued to run. As the suspect ran, he turned and fired his gun at the officer. To protect himself, the officer fired his weapon at the suspect. After the officer fired, the suspect continued to run a short distance until he fell to the ground. The officer moved to a position of cover, gave orders for the suspect to remain on the ground, and requested medics while he waited for backup. The suspect began to stand and pointed his gun in the officer's direction. Based on the threat to his life, the officer again fired his weapon and the suspect fell to the ground. The officer gave verbal commands, requested medical aid, and waited for assisting officers so they could safely approach and render aid to the suspect who was lying next to the gun. Officers provided medical aid to the suspect until Long Beach Fire arrived and transported the suspect to a local hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. The suspect was identified as 33-year-old Kerry Michael Boonsome of Long Beach.